Hey, how are you guys? I hope you're well. Welcome to my channel, Overthinking with Dima. I hope you're well. I hope your family's well. And yeah, you're making progress in your life. Look, I want to talk to you this time about the red pill and the limits of the red pill. I want anyone to be watching this video to essentially get away from the red pill. One of the reasons I want to talk about it, and it's a long time coming, is because the red pill has its uses. The red pill woke me up, to be honest, because I was fairly blue pill as a man. And it has its uses, but you can overdose on the red pill. And what happens is you become addicted and you are stuck in a cycle trying to figure out, because you're being taught by a bunch of the red pill community, being taught how to essentially pick up the tomato and throw it at people instead of just simply working on yourself, right? But let's first and foremost, before I start throwing tomatoes myself, right? I want to talk about the benefits of the red pill. And the benefit of the red pill is that you start understanding that the world is, as a man, an extremely cold world. And that being, to some extent, a weak man regarding particular situations that are facing you, meaning your relationship towards women, your relationship towards the feminine, the relationship towards the world, is going to, if you don't take the red pill, it will keep battering you. It will keep battering you. And I can name two people. The first one is probably going to be Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate, everyone knows him. I don't need to do an introduction of Andrew Tate. But this man played an extremely positive role in waking up people. And I mean positive because for those who have sat down, listened to him, for those who sat down, listened to him, and I don't mean the 30-second videos, I don't mean the 15-second videos, I mean the people who literally sat down for years with him. Listen to what he say, analyze it, discuss it with their friends, listen to how he reacted, listen to his body language, listen to the way he expressed himself, the way he communicates. There is a lot of positive things that an adult like me, a grown man like me, could watch and take notes from, but also a teenager could take notes and learn from. He's relatively stoic, I would say. Although you can tell he's thinking enormously. His main message is that you need to free yourself from this concept called the matrix. I'm not going to talk about that, but you need to free yourself, and in order to free yourself, you need to respect yourself. And a man who respects himself has, to some extent, imposes a particular set of lifestyle and restrictions on himself in order for him to be better. What are those restrictions? First and foremost, he needs to work, and he needs to be good at his job. He needs to be disciplined, he needs to be competent, he needs to be skilled at his job. Another point that Andrew Tate has mentioned many times is that as a man, you need to learn to have a thicker skin. It's an extremely valuable lesson that people need to understand. Because either you learn to have thicker skin or you fall for things like microaggressions and you become a weak human being and a weak individual as a whole. Another point he mentions is the concept of depression, that as accepting the notion of depression will inherently make you a weak man. That's also a valuable point. Working on your body. That's also the concept of discipline, of stoicism, working on your body, needing to look good, needing to have some sort of impact on yourself and on your life, because working on your body and seeing your body change makes you understand that you can also affect others and other aspects of your life the same way. So Andrew Tate, again, listening to his podcast provides those types of values to people, to the men who are listening. The second person who, he would hate actually to be associated with Andrew Tate is Jordan Peterson, right? Jordan Peterson, and I suppose I should have mentioned him first because he influenced me first before listening to other guys like Andrew Tate. But Jordan Peterson wakes you up in the sense that he wakes you up from the inside and making you understand that a lot of the things you do that you think don't matter a lot more than you think, because you are a node in a network, because your mindset, because you need to understand that as an individual, what you do today affects your future selves. It's going to affect you tomorrow and you the day after and you the next day, and therefore you need to have some sort of hierarchy of values for you to work on. So they both bring very, very valuable things for a man, for a boy to become a man, and for an adult, let's say an adult boy to genuinely transform himself and shed away all the extra layers and the extra things that is unnecessary for the modern man, that is actually not unnecessary. It's unnecessary for you, but it's very useful for society. But the things that are making the human male adult to be weak and unproductive and incapable of defending himself, incapable of defending his family, right? So those two guys are super valuable. And the message that they brought to this world is a good thing. Truth is, Jesus Christ brought this message a long time ago, but we don't want to listen to him. Let's get to the negative part now. So, but you see, like every community and every little movement, it always starts like a good thing. It always starts with good intention. It always starts with a notion that it's trying to help others, and then once a financial model or a business model is found on it, then it starts to get corrupted, and then it prevents people from fully grasping the benefits as well as getting away from it. Because the business model right now of the Redpill videos, of the Redpill content, is just rage. It's to make men rage, right? And it has turned, truth is, it has turned into a male version of feminism. I'm not talking about men's right. It has turned into a weird version of feminism that's full of rules and assumptions that aren't necessarily true, and that because they're not necessarily true and because they're not necessarily, they don't necessarily apply to your life, but you apply them, right? You want to squeeze it into your life, and you miss a lot of opportunities that way. And the truth is, just like feminism and many movements, it makes you miserable. It makes you miserable in the sense that because you are too much into the red pill, you don't trust women whatsoever for anything whatsoever. And that's kind of an issue. Because, it is an issue because it's half of humanity, right? What is the classic red pill videos nowadays? It's the whatever podcast with this guy, I don't know how old he is, who brings like teenagers, 19-year-olds and a few like 22-year-olds. They're all on OnlyFans. And then he just keeps correcting them for hours. And it gets traction because, some of those girls aren't really that smart. Yes, they're very attractive, but some of those girls aren't that smart, like, at all. And so it gets traction, it gets a lot of attention. And the other video, again, the second channel is the Fresh and Fit podcast, which I think is just as worse. It's just as bad. I don't know which one is worse, but Fresh and Fit have successfully turned this thing into a model, and congratulations to them for turning it into a model, but into a proper business model that's functioning. But what those two haven't realized is that they've turned the Redpill community and their videos into an ad and a marketing campaign for prostitutes. Right? Everyone, OnlyFans is type 2 prostitution. Let's be real. First and foremost, let's just start there. OnlyFans is type 2 prostitution. If the guy from the whatever podcast or any of the channels doing the Redpill video would bring like proper women, and I know they do, they just bring one once every 3 months or so, and that's about it. And it's not bringing any value to the man. And what it does, as I mentioned in the beginning, is that it makes you want to grab the tomato and throw it to the women. The women don't know any better. That's the situation. I don't think they do. Some clearly know what they're doing, and they're doing it on purpose. And they understand that maybe they're going to be making, $60,000, $100,000 from OnlyFans. And then as they age, they realize that there's going to be all sorts of problems in their lives. And they realize that the internet and real life is completely two different things. But the women realize it a little too late, but it seems to me like the men also don't. They don't understand, right? That, a red flag isn't necessarily the end of the world. But that's what they're teaching you. They're teaching you any woman with a particular red flag, she needs to be flawless from the beginning. It is not true. You are full of flaws. I'm full of flaws. And you need to be able to negotiate with life. You need to be able to say, if you meet a girl, let's say, okay, she has those two red flags. The questions you need to be asking yourself isn't how many red flags does she have or how many bodies does she have, although it matters. The question you need to be asking yourself is, can I work with this red flag? Because you have your own. And she's probably thinking, can I work with my red flags? You need to be able to be down to earth enough and realize that the alpha male isn't just a fucking checklist. The alpha male isn't a guy who got a vasectomy at 21. That's retarded. It's super dumb. The alpha male isn't, having sex with 50 women. Like that, like one of those guys in those podcast said, like, in order for you to understand women, you need to have sex with 50 women. Like, that makes absolutely no sense. But it only makes sense, right, if you're in that community. If you're in that community and you hear that, you'll be like, yeah, that makes sense. But how could you possibly think, the truth is, how could you possibly think that having sex with 50 different women makes you understand women better? They're very different. You'd be lucky if you managed to understand one woman, maybe like 50% for the rest of your life. But to think, the audacity and the pride to think that, I understand women because I had sex with 50 women is so insane. It's beyond insane. The red pill has its limits. That's my point. It has a lot of limits, and although working out is important, having a good job is important, being financially stable is important, none of those things mean you're rich. You can be financially stable and not be rich and not be wealthy. You can have all the checklist of a red pill, but your mother, you don't get along with your mother, and you're still going to be a miserable man. You don't get along with your father, and you're still going to be a miserable man. Your kids don't fucking respect you, you're going to be a miserable man. So to some extent, being alpha isn't all that. It's not. Really? You're gonna tell me that those guys from Fresh and Fit are alpha males? Come on, G. Really? Really, man? You're gonna tell me that this guy who's telling people to get a vasectomy at 21, he's the alpha male. He's the one best placed. Look at him, bro. He's the one best placed to teach you how to live a life of the ultimate male. Really, bro? Take a step back from the red pill. Take what you need from it, right? Andrew Tate gave some really good advice. You need to have thick skin because the world is going to get hard. You need to have thick skin. You need to be quick with it because you're not going to get wealthy or financially stable or rich if you're stuck on one source of income. It is not possible. He's the one who told us this. So he's correct in that way. So you need to think. Now again, there are limits. Don't go out here like he did, start a webcam service promoting prostitution. Don't do that. You don't have to be copy pasting what other people do. You are unique as an individual, as a human being, and therefore you need to bring a divine, like I said in my previous videos, a vertical, horizontal way of you. You'll be making money if you do it that way. You will. You will. Take notes from Andrew Tate. Take notes from Jordan Peterson. Take notes from some people in the red pill. Cool. But at some point, you're gonna have to make a decision. It's like, do I really want to have this relationship with women like this for the rest of my life? Of course, you don't want to be duped and find yourself spending $200 on a date, right? But at the same time, do you want to wake up every morning and look at every woman with some sort of disdain, some sort of like some sort of guard, you know? It's important to be stoic, it's important to have a plan, it's important to learn how to communicate. All of those things are good and true. But please throw away those checklists. Please throw away the what color is your Bugatti thing. Who cares? You have 4 kids. Who cares? You have a child. Who cares? You got married to a woman who genuinely loves you. Who cares if you have? Who cares if you don't have a Bugatti? If you don't have a Bugatti, or if you don't have $100,000 salary? That makes no what? It's cool if you do, but it's not necessary. It's not necessary for you to be a G, a responsible man who is valued by his surroundings, who's valued by his parents, who's valued by his kids, who's valued by his colleagues, and to the point where every time you speak, people genuinely like take notes of your input. That's the man you should strive to be. You know what I mean? I'm thinking about Patrick Bet-David. He's an excellent example. This is the type of guy I'm trying to be. Of course, I can't be him, right? And that's the point. There is a limit to Patrick Bet-David. I need to emulate him, but in my way. I can't just be this guy. I'm not going to start building an insurance company and write a book called Your Next 5 Moves. I'm not going to do that because I'm not him. However, I value his input. I value the way he proceeds and does things. He never does anything rude. He doesn't know anything just to shock. He almost always just puts and contributes good things. Anyways, I think I've talked too much again, and really need to make an effort in making my my videos a little shorter, because most of my videos are like 20 minutes minimum. So yeah, I'm gonna keep it short. Be careful with the red pill. That's my conclusion. Be careful with the red pill. Jordan Peterson is valuable. There are limits. Andrew Tate will teach you a lot of things, but there are limits. And you need to carve out those limits by yourself. Right? Being an alpha male isn't all that. Don't get a vasectomy, because that's just simply nihilistic. Makes no sense. Don't go rush and try to have sex with 15 women, because that will make you a very depressed man and a superficial beast. It makes no sense. You're more than that. Far more than that. Okay. Peace. So Jordan Peterson, who would hate to be associated with that, but I can't, I don't have better words, but who would hate to be attributed to that. So there's two people. Jordan Peterson, who would clearly hate to be associated with with the red pill community, especially the second person I'm going to name, and